I did really well in school. I loved knowing the answer. Or rather, I loved knowing that there was a correct answer. You study hard enough, you prepare enough, you raise your hand when you're sure, and someone would say, yes, correct. Which is excellent training for schools and exams, but almost useless training for real life. So in school, there are correct answers. You study, you prepare, when you're sure, you raise your hand and you're told it's a correct answer. And I believed that that system would work in real life as well. If I studied hard enough, if I worked hard enough, if I showed up, life would just work. One day I'd feel ready. Ready to speak, ready to decide, and ready to lead. However, very quickly, I found myself in rooms that I hadn't mentally prepared for. So when I started my career very early in life, I was in national conversations, government meetings, offices, where the questions weren't theoretical anymore. We were asking, so this is a real problem impacting real people, and what can we do about this? If we work on a policy program that needs to go into implementation, we're talking about 1 million people being impacted. So the questions moved from, what if we were to do this, to actually, how do we solve for this program? I remember this one time when I was working with the government. There were senior officials involved. There were climate experts, policy leads, ministers, government who's who, big screens, slides, numbers, and a big, hairy, audacious goal that we were solving for, a climate problem. And in that room, the most uncomfortable truth was, we didn't know what would work. Because we didn't have perfect data, climate change is not a controlled experiment. You don't get to test the same problem twice. You don't get evidence that requires or tells you that, yes, this would work or this would not work. And in that moment, I remember thinking to myself that, okay, so when does the adult in the room step in and say that, I know exactly what we need to do? I know, the silly me. So in that moment, I realized, of course, we are the adults, aka the people who know exactly what to do, when to do, and how do we do it. This is how we think about adults, right? So that moment, it was almost a realization for me that the signal that I was waiting for, the moment of clarity, the moment of readiness that I thought would come to me through a signal, through that moment, someone would say that now you're ready, it does not come. In that room, we realized that waiting would have been so much more comfortable, right? If we said, let's gather more evidence, let's get more data, let's get more people on board, especially if it's a government program, you're thinking, can we have more partners who are aligned? All the professional words that probably talk about putting your ducks in a row and talks about how do we get everyone on the same page so that we are for sure successful when we go out in the field. And that's the most comfortable thing to do at that point in time. And sometimes that's the right and the wise thing to do. But other times, it's just our fear, which is talking in a professional language. Something that stops us, that makes us think that maybe we should take a pause. But the honest truth is, in the climate world, in the world of public policy, in the world where real stakes matter, we don't get to do this twice. When we wait, the momentum slows down. Opportunities close as well. And because real lives are involved, impact gets delayed. And then I realized something that no report or degree had taught me. Some things work, some things don't work. You have to adjust, adapt, and move on, and move forward. And that's leadership in messy systems. When I think about that younger version of myself now, the girl in school, the curious girl who loved knowing answers, who loved giving answers, the careful, prepared version of me, I know that she wasn't not courageous. She was just waiting for that signal. She was waiting for that moment of clarity. She was waiting for that moment when someone would say that, yes, now you're ready. Now you're ready to speak, now you're ready to decide, and now you're ready to lead. But that signal, my friends, does not come. You have to speak before you feel ready. You have to decide before you feel ready. And sometimes you have to take responsibility before you feel you're fully equipped. And the confidence does arrive, probably sometimes afterwards, and that's fine. We often romanticize risk as this bold, dramatic movement where something big, drastic has happened and we've taken a risk, but the honest truth is that most real risk is quiet. It's saying that this is the best that we can do right now, and then standing by it. People in important rooms are not more certain than any of us are. They've just learned to tolerate uncertainty a bit better. They've learned that clarity often follows movement and not the other way around. So if you're waiting today to feel completely ready for that opportunity, for that leap, for that responsibility, unfortunately, you might just be waiting forever. Because readiness is not a moment. It's a practice. And in today's world, the world which is dynamic, with everything that's happening around us in geopolitics, in climate, in sustainability, in the complexity of it, we don't need perfect people. We just need people who are willing to move forward with responsibility, willing to move forward with curiosity, thoughtfully, but imperfectly. The clock is running. Don't wait to feel ready. The moment is now.